And welcome back for another video, you guys. My name's Cale. Today we're going to be working on some open source software, programming in TypeScript, making an open source browser extension to do live coding with using GitHub and mission-driven development called the AStartup Mission Control Center. And today I've got somebody to help me do the mission review. This is my son, David.
Hello.
David is 15 and he programs in TypeScript and Next.js, and he can do Chrome browser extensions, so he's going to help us verify that we did the mission. Sorry. So you can find this project at github.com/yomom. I mean /AStartup/AStartupMCC and you can download the code. You can fork and star the repo. That would be an excellent way that you can contribute for free. And today we're going to be working on mission 28. David, why don't you read the mission title and then the problem and solution?
All right. So the mission.
Talking to this. Well, stand back just a little bit. Yeah, like that.
The mission problem is.
No, read this.
Oh, okay. The Abilities.Add can select a dummy account repo. Can select a dummy account repo, issue, and child issue. The problem I'm addressing on this mission is that I need to start somewhere. The solution that I'm addressing to this mission is to add some TypeScript types that allow me to store the basic GitHub models for account repo and issue in an object. Not all issues are a mission. A mission is not an incident or a bug report.
All right. So usually at this point in time, I would show you the state of the project as it stands, but this is the first milestone in this project, so I don't really have anything to show you. But we're going to go over here now to show you how to build it. So you're going to have to go over to, you're going to have to add it, download it into your workspace. Google that to figure out. Right click on the thing, on the files that you extracted, and you're going to want to run npm run install, and I don't know why it's glitching like that, but we need to do npm run build, but apparently I already had npm run build, and so this is the Webpack build environment. And so we go over here, we want to load the thing. So you got to go, click the three dots, click the extensions, manage extensions, load unpacked. Then you scroll over to the find it in your workspace, which can be challenging. We have a lot of workspaces like the it's in the node distribution. Okay, you select folder, and sometimes you get, if you make any change, we just made some changes to the initialization data, so we have to reload. Here, wait, you're in the way. Here, ooh, there's a reload button right there. Okay, all right. Sometimes it glitches if you don't do that. So then we can click up here. And so we can see we have a dummy account. We have the A-Star Startup, Cooking with Cale, and the Kabuki Starship GitHub repositories. So the way that this works here, if we want to browse over to the extension, is here we want to take, actually, I want to probably do this. Yes, this will be much better. Okay, because then we won't be taking up the whole. Except for it's stuck down there. But hey, that's better. Okay, so we have the folder root. Kind of explaining this to David and explaining this to you at the same time. So inside of the AStartup Mission Control Center, you're going to see that I put all the node files in the root directory. Might be easier to look at this in the sorry. So much better to read through anything. Here's the root of the project. And so we have the files are in the extension. And so it's just source files. The extension root is kind of like a global files or like a what you would put in a content delivery network or CDN. There's our standard node modules. Distribution is the Webpack output. We have a test because we had to test. What did we do? We tested I had to extract the mission string. So we got a jest test, and it's supposed to run upon boot. So we have the stem files for the art here, and like this is for GitHub, the GitHub art. Then the extensions folder, we have a view model control folder structure using a view model presenter architecture. So it's a nice simple folder structure. Maybe if you have a whole lot of files, it maybe might outgrow its britches here, but I like having all the files in one folder. It makes it easier to search through things with keyboard buttons. So you just press A through Z and then the files pop up. So the model, the way that we initialize this is that I have this initialization code for the global data. And so I have in a JSON object, I have a couple of fake dummy GitHub organizations. We have AStartup. We have a lot of stuff down there. What else do we have? We have the Kabuki Starship. Where'd it go? Right here. Oh, that's an error. That's an organization. It's a GitHub organization, not a person. So we have issues that are open, or we have repos. They have a flag for the type, which is just a string. The repos is a GitHub object. These repos then have right now it just has visibility, true or false. That's like if it's public or private. Then we have issues that are open and there's issues that are closed. So whenever you get first to get everything, you're only going to get the open issues. You're not going to get the closed issues. You're going to have to download those. So for the AStartup, what we did, we're using a dictionary, a JavaScript object, like a dictionary, to store the issues where we basically convert the issue ticket number to a string. So this is 28. So here's the mission that we're on right now. And then the key is the string 28. And then we have the GitHub, the title of the GitHub issue that you just saw on the screen earlier. And and what else? There's not a whole lot. That's just it. Okay, so I just have one of these for each of my, not all of my Git repos. It's not exhaustive. But so okay, so next the widget. So we got a view, which also has some code in it. But it's still a nice file structure, even though it's view model presenter and not view model controller. I still like it. I'm not going to put a presenter folder because there are controllers in there. So most of the stuff's in the pop-up. We have a use effect to load our state from, where can I show you this? So this is in the model. And so the model gets the stuff from, essentially we're not using a state manager. We're using Chrome local storage. So we're using this promise because it's the better way to go about doing it with this, I guess. I don't know. People have said you don't need to do it. I don't know. We're just doing it because the teacher from this class did it. Okay. So all we're doing with here is we're just setting a key and a value from, here's the model state. So we have the config, and then the config is the model config object. We have command structure, which is our incident command structure, part of the mission-driven development. We have the current issue that's selected, current mission that's selected, the current session that's selected, and the current, all of the GitHub syndicates. So the configuration, it doesn't have any nested objects in here because we're using this with use effect instead of having each object member like a POD type in the use effect call list. David, does this make sense to you?
Yep.
The use effect call list, So he's fresh on it. This kid probably is better at programming in TypeScript and React than you. He's 15. So we got this use effect, right? And then it's just loading. And so typically in here, you only want to have in this list, you only want to have like a update on POD types, like a string, a number. You can actually have an object as long as it doesn't have any nested objects. And that's going to be the same thing. So that's the idea behind this configuration, is that the model config, there's no nested objects. This is just a set of things that we could use for a use effect to update them. We're not actually doing that, but you can do that. It's just a design style. There's other design styles out there. This isn't the only one. It's just, it works. I'm not sure if it does any SSD thrashing though. So what we do here in the mission selector is we have a bunch of console out statements that I forgot to remove. We're not even using state, in here. So we're using the Chrome local storage to save our state. So we don't really use the use state like we would normally use state. We got some props. I'm prop drilling because we don't have a state manager. And it's just not designed to be very complicated. So we're going to pull out, we got the config, and then we're going to destructure these items out of the config. We only need a few items out of it. Got some debug commands going on. Then we're going to go, so this is the point where I'm creating the list in the, where'd it go? In this thing. So each time the thing renders, it's going to go through our list of repos, and it's going to put together a list of session ticket items. So we have to select, we can select all of them, and this does all the repos. Or we could select one of the accounts. And so we could see when I select all, that it contains all of them. And he's here to verify that this does that. So we know we completed the mission.
Yep.
So that then we select the account. Here's the AStartup.
Startup.
And that's only the AStartup ones, right?
Yeah, that's only the AStartup ones.
And then we have Kabuki Starship.
There's all the Kabuki Starship ones, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's just Kabuki Starship. So now the real test. What was Freedom Cookbook is selected, right?
Yep.
Now let's watch. Does it maintain state? Click on the thing. Does it say Freedom Cookbook still? All right, cool. It saved it. So we changed it to a Kabuki, but we didn't change the repo, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So we didn't save the change, right? So I have to select a repo. If I want to go over to that and then select that, then but we know it's working because they're all displaying the right one. So to know it's working, we have one that I put more issues in. The other ones are all just a repeat. And then I can select one, and then it displays the mission text, the mission number. Okay, and at this point in time, now I can add the clock on and clock off code so that we can clock on with GitHub using our IMUL language. And that'll allow us to automate our titles and descriptions with our YouTube live coding, like you've been seeing on this channel. But that's the second milestone. So the next thing that we have to do in the mission for this milestone is to add a dummy clock on button. So I can just select the repos at this point in time. But I can't clock on. I can't really change my login name either. So I have to change that. And then let's look at the mission ticket. Does it look like we completed the mission, David?
All right, let me read it again. Yeah, you completed
Selected a dummy issue ticket, a child. Oh, wait, it's not supposed to say child issue. I took that off. Yeah, the child issue is, like 28.A, 28.B. So do you have any questions about that, David? About how it works, or anything that you want to see that you were unclear about?
Nope.
That's not it.
Let's see.
Did you want to look at the debug output?
Yeah, sure.
So here, if we right-click on we inspect that. Then we go over to console. Then we'll change our thing to over the shoulder. Yeah, isn't that so awesome? I just love it. So start up at the beginning. Jumps into background.ts where there's a ticker, an updater. So it displays some things about what mission I have selected. And then it goes iterating through syndicates. Oh, yeah, right. I didn't actually show you the syndicate iterating. So I have some nested loops. So in the main loop, we have the syndicate. A syndicate is a group that conspire together towards a mutual... conspire is not the right word. They work together towards mutual aims. Okay? So syndicate is like a bunch of GitHub organizations that act as a syndicate with each other. They work together. Okay? So we're going to iterate through each of these entries. Here, let me get rid of this. So we pull out a repo. We get the repo name from the key. Look, so we got the object.entries. And it wouldn't work without this because syndicate could be null or undefined or something, unknown, I think, or something. So we had to do or, and then this empty object. So then we got the account key and account value. And then from there, we were able to get the repo by the object's account value. Repos, account value. I'm not sure why it says account value, but it works, right? And maybe that's not the best variable name. So then we're going to go through the repo. Each account has a bunch of repos. And then we go through each repo using the same object entries map, or sorry, for each iteration. And then for each of the repos, we check f account equals account key and repo equals repo key. Then that's the currently selected account. And so then we're going to go through all the open issues, and we're going to use that same entries, object.entries thing to get the key and the value. And this allows us to make that list because the data was stored like this. Okay. You know, I have the, instead of doing like a number 86, which is more efficient, I'm using a JavaScript dictionary, which is more efficient for caching purposes. So this allows us to cache issues, which is good. So I'm probably going to have to add a timestamp. This works right now. I'll probably have to add a timestamp in here for whenever we added it to the cache, because then it's going to be out of sync. Or I just update the cache and then, you know, it just works offline, like maybe updates every 15 minutes or something. So then I basically go through and I push onto the, I have a list of issues, or an array of issues. And I push on, it says pound and then issue key, which is that issue number string. And then I have the issue value, is its key value. And so the value is the string, the title of the issue ticket. And then that gives us the, where is it? A startup at Mission Control Center. Okay, that allows us to have these strings, right? It says pound and then the issue number and then the issue title right there. Right, and then if we look at the code again, we could see it's iterating through syndicates. That's that console.log stuff. The use effect, it's asynchronous, so it happened when it happened. So this was basically, this use effect was called maybe up here or something. And then it didn't finish till it was over here because it talked to the database, which takes a long time. So it went through each mission selector, iterating through entries, and then it, you know, it found the list of issues. So it was Freedom Cookbook, and then I just printed out basically the whatever I was trying to load. I printed it out here, and here's the one that had more the Kabuki Starship. That's not a repo. So what else was there? Anything else? I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Looks like that's it.
Did you have any questions about the Chrome extension files? I mean, that's enough about how that.
Yeah, let me look over it a bit. Can you just?
You could take the mouse.
Yeah, let me just. No. That's everything there. I mean, yeah, I don't really see anything. Settings editor, hold on.
It's a little bit weird to see use effect used in that way, because that's not the way you usually use use effect. You usually, like, each data member that you have in there, you have it a separate member in that use effect list. And that isn't in there because of the Chrome local storage thing. But it's weird to see it. It's like, it triggers your OCD because you're like, you know it's not supposed to be like that. And you're like, wait a minute, where's the code? It's missing. Like, oh yeah, right, we don't have a state manager. Right. Chrome.local storage is our state manager, right? Which can be problematic, but you know, it works.
Yep.
All right, so again, I think that wraps up this mission review here. You can find it at GitHub github.com/A*Startup. You could scroll down, click on the AStartup Mission, AStartup MCC. And don't forget to fork and star the repo. And until next time, thanks for joining us on this AStartup Mission Complete Code Review. And aloha, sayonara, au revoir, peace be with you, and Godspeed in your journeys, my friend.
Okay, good.